promotion. Come on, you Blades. We are Premier League.
Well, now's the time is now. Sing my song. I'm gonna run the world, gonna find my girl, I'm on my way.
What's happening, Blades? We've done it. We have done it. Do you know, it felt so surreal yesterday. Like, we went to the pub before the game, as is tradition. We do it every single time, even with early kickoffs. And always same routine. And this was one of the most flat, I'm not kidding, one of the most flat atmospheres I've felt in ages. And I don't know what it was. And I was saying to like my dad and Aunt Sal and Dave, it just feels a bit off tonight. I wonder if tonight's not the night. Really strange. I couldn't put my finger on it, and they were in agreement. Like it was just like, yeah, it don't really feel like a promotion party like we thought it were going to be, because we had those 4 chances. So nerves are out at window, and you know you'd expect that the atmosphere were going to be rocking, and it weren't. So we walk into the ground, and it's still not that lively, and I just thought it don't feel right. This anyway. We got in ground. And come kick-off, it just lifted, didn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some lulls where decisions weren't going for us. That referee were awful, by the way. I thought on the night, obviously I've seen them back now, but I thought on the night there were 4 penalty decisions that he didn't get. At least 2 were stonewallers for me. When I look back, just wouldn't give us anything. I thought it was shocking. But that's by the by, isn't it? It were always going to be us last night. West Brom are decent. They're a decent team. They couldn't finish last night, but they've got a lot of injuries. And thank God they couldn't finish, because in the first 3 minutes or something, Carl and Grant should have buried that. And then it's a different game and a different atmosphere. But it were a Blades night, weren't it? And it makes you take everything in and look back across the season and think just how amazing an achievement it's been. And we haven't really, I touched on this, and I hope you're different to me in this regard, but I haven't really enjoyed it like I should have done. And I know I've spoken about this previously, but with the fact that we're being chased is the huge thing for me, because it makes you nervous rather than excited. Last season, when we were chasing for them playoff spots, it were brilliant because we had naught to lose. We were winning every game and we were catching people. So it was like, ooh, we're going to get closer to them. We're going to overtake them now. Well, this time it's been like, oh my God, a Blackburn going to take us over. And then the big one were obviously Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough come like house on fire. And at one point, didn't look like they were going to stop winning. And I had some real fears that they were going to catch us. Just because of some players there. I mean, Cameron Archer, you know what I think of him. Michael Carrick, I never really bought into the Carrick hype, and I still don't. When you look at it now, I can't remember the stat perfectly, so correct me if I'm wrong, and I may well be. But it's something like, when Carrick came in, they were 6 points off us, and they're now 10 points off us. So Hecky has got more points, and we've got a game in hand on him, by the way, as well, since. So Hecky is 4 points better off than Carrick's record since Carrick came in. But where's Ecky's recognition? And Ecky, that brings me nicely to Ecky, because looking back at the season, everything he's had to cope with, we've had the embargo, which meant we couldn't negotiate contracts. We've had loads of stuff going off the field with Takeover, which I'll touch on in a second, with Takeover. We've had loads in terms of injuries to key men, more so than we're ever talked about like it was for other clubs. But we don't care, we just got on with it. And he's done a superb job. You look at his signings that he's brought in. And Nell, we never thought Basham needed to be replaced. That was one of our solid positions. We all love Bash, and he does a good job. He sort of gives you some airy moments every now and again, but he's a club legend and cult hero. So Bash weren't a position we were looking to fill. So when we spend 4 or 5 million on an unknown right centre-back, we're all going, what? You've blown us budget on that? Visions of Brayford again, to be honest, spending all his money on a right-back, even though we love John Brayford, and we loved him even more the week. But it was that sort of scenario that, why are we putting all... And then you see him and you think, that's why. That is why he's a level up on what we've had. And that's no disrespect to Bash, because I think he's a fantastic understudy. And whenever he's come in this season, he hasn't let us down. Tonight, it's not about me picking things apart and me thinking Max Lowe ain't ready for Premier League. And I'll go into that in other videos. But going back to Ecky's signings, the two City boys speak for themselves. Tommy Doyle permanently in the summer has to be a priority, and I'd love to see McAtee back on loan. I don't think we'll get him permanently, but Tommy Doyle, I think we've got a chance. That'll be a priority. Kieran Clark has been unlucky with injuries, and also the former Jack Robinson. So I'm hot and cold on Robinson at times, as I think a few of us are. We know he's got a mistake in him, but he has played well in good chunks this season as Robinson, and I think he's got better and better. Again, that don't mean I think he's Premier League quality, but that's by the by. Clark's not managed to get him because of Robinson's form and his own injury record, but you can certainly see whenever Clark's played why he was signed, because he's done really well whenever he's been in the side. And then the other one, the one that didn't quite work, was Kadra. But I think we all, when that first deal was first announced, we were all for it. We all thought it was the best move for the club, and great. It caused us havoc the year prior. You can completely see why he signed him. And he scored a great goal against Swansea, and he's contributed to our success as well. It just didn't work out, and sometimes it's like that for players, and I get that. So it makes me think about Ecky. You know, I still question some of his in-game substitutions and reacting to what's going on mid-game, but I think he's got better at that. And you heard him talk last night about how he had to change the game, the shape 3 times within the game to adapt to what West Brom were doing to us. And it makes you think, have we got one of the most underrated managers that just doesn't come on anyone's radar? And I think it makes me quite confident going into next season, because no one's going to be linking Ecky with West Ham or linking him to Everton or any of these other jobs, because his name never comes up. It's always the flash new names. It's a company, it's a Carrick. You know, Brendan Rodgers is still out there. You know, these sort of names will get linked to Premier League jobs. Ecky won't. The biggest danger we've got of losing Ecky, I think, is to England under 21s, because that job fits him like a glove. But because he's so under the radar, I wonder if we've got ourselves a bit of a Sean Dyche Burnley on his hands, where he's the unfashionable but very efficient manager of Sheffield United. That'll do me, because the job he's doing at the moment is unbelievable when you look at his record. So fair play to Ecky. I have questioned you in the past, and I think on appointment, I certainly questioned you as the cheap option, and I were wrong. And I think a lot of people have come on Twitter this morning and recently as well, to be fair, to hold their hands up and say they didn't think you were the right man, but he's proven us all wrong. And 18 months now of relentless, top-notch form. And I know we've got the squad to do it, but you've got to deal with that squad and keep players happy who are out of the side. And dropping big characters like Ollie Norwood and Billy Sharp aren't easy calls to make when you want to still be a positive influence in the changing room. It's a big call to make. So yeah, that was that. And just touching slightly on the takeover, I'll do a proper video on this. It's come out that the exclusivity period has passed, and that Dozy had apparently failed. I say apparently, and I'm not being dismissive with that, because I don't know the details. He'd not met his obligations in terms of getting the deal over the line. I haven't had any recent serious conversations about what's gone on. And if I do get any information, I will share it with you. From what I understand is that's true. The exclusivity period has now expired. It doesn't mean Dozy's out of the race. It means that he has given the club close to 15 million, which is not what's been quoted, but I'm told, and I'm not saying what I've been told is accurate, but it's from a very close source to where I'm referring to. And he will want that money back, but he also still wants to take over the club. Now it'll now be down to what we'd alluded to previously. There'll be a legal battle, And that will either be to get his money back out of the club or to renegotiate a price, and that amount already issued to the club will be taken into consideration. But he's now back in the field with any other interested parties that may wish to operate. And obviously that's not gone down well from Dozy's side, but I'm going to have a full video on this because I know people are interested on it. I'll need to get a few more details, but it'll start with a very interesting tale, and I'll just share the thumbnail with you before I move on, and that may explain a few things. So, back to on the pitch matters. No matter what's happening off the pitch, the club, the money that goes into the club from the Premier League and things of that nature is now back on a sound financial footing, which is all we can ask for. And one of my next videos coming up, other than reacting and previewing games that we've still got to play, by the way, there's 3 championship games left before we depart, is looking at Ecky's inbox and what I think his top priorities are going to be going forward. So all of these videos will be released to Ramblers first, so that's our members if you like. So if you're interested in joining, please do. But either way, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'm still getting loads that are watching the videos but aren't actually subscribed. So if you could subscribe, it'd be a massive favour to us. So thank you for that. The club is back on a sound financial footing, as we've said. So we can now start looking at contracts again. Ecky's inbox for me will be his top 5 priorities in what I think needs to be done. And then another video we'll be looking at, which I've been looking forward to doing, is a real deep dive into the squad rebuild and what's needed for next season. So I think we'll split that up into positions and things like that, so we can... Because what I don't want to do is just give you content for the sake of content, but there's a summer to come, isn't there, where, you know, there won't be as frequent videos because we're not playing games and things of that nature, obviously, and I'll jump on whenever there's a rumour about players, but I want to give you substantial content that's worth, that you enjoy watching. So hopefully I'm doing that. I'm going to very quickly, because I don't think it's worth sandwiching a short video in between, I'm just going to do a very quick watch your team. Now this can go several ways, because we've obviously got the 3 games left to play, and this is the last home game coming up, which I think is significant. And this is quite controversial, really, because obviously we want to respect the competition, and so we've played our best team against other playoff rivals, and Preston is still fighting for a playoff spot. So we've got to do what's right for the competition, I feel, but we've also got to think about what's right for Sheffield United and our future. And I think that involves playing some players that haven't always played as frequently this season. So my team, well, this is my team. I want to see Marcus Dewhurst in goal. I don't think Hecky will do any of this, by the way, but this is what I'd like to see. And then I'm going Bash, Egan, Clark, Bogle, and I'd like to see Andre Brooks at left wing back, but whether that happens or not, I'm not entirely sure. I think Norwood gets another deal, so I don't need to start Norwood in this game. I'm playing Tommy Doyle, and I'm playing Ollie Arblaster in middle, because I'd love to see an academy blade in the middle and sort of bringing him on and rewarding him really for his patience this year. He's not been very well and things of that nature. I'm playing Sander and I'm playing Illiman. And the reason I'm playing those 2 is I think there's a chance this could be their last home game for the Blades. Don't go down well when I talk about this, and I don't like thinking about it myself. And I'm not going to dwell on it because this is a really positive video, all about promotion. But we've got to do what's best for the club, and I'll come on to it in a future video. But I think there's a big chance these 2 aren't with us next season, because that's what's best. Now, some people will say, take the risk, because those 2 players of that quality can keep us in the Premier League. And then obviously get the rewards of the finances that come with it, so we can lose them for free because we've got that Premier League status, and I understand that point. And if you guarantee me 17th place by keeping them, then I'd snap your hand off, but we can't guarantee that. So we'll talk about that. That's going to be part of the squad rebuild stuff. And then I'm going to have him alongside Billy Sharp. Illiman and Billy up front. Billy Sharp deserves to lead us out. It may well be his last home game too. I'm leaning more towards now. I think Eki will give him another deal, but we shall see. He's such a positive influence in the dressing room, and he has played better in recent games, but he's not scored. We're desperate for him to get that 250th league goal. And then I'd like to see more people come into play, like Jebison get a little bit more game time. Asula, get him on the pitch more. Maybe even Louis Marsh playing in the McAtee 10 role like he plays for under 23s. So there's loads of exciting prospects and things that we could do over the next few games. Giving players like George a break, who's going to have been on the sauce with the rest of the lads, and Wes has done his bit. I think Wes isn't in any danger of not getting a contract offer, so he don't need to play again. But if I'm honest, I think Eki will just go with a similar team to what he's gone with last night. So we shall see. Let me know what your team is. I'd like to see some youngsters blooded, and I think Billy needs to be starting. But other than that, what's your team? And how are you feeling? How are you feeling after that? Is it a weight off your shoulders? Were you comfortable? Did you always think it was going to happen? Because I've been up and down, as you know, and I get to document all this. So, yeah, we'll be there on Saturday. Early doors, I think, this time. And just enjoy the party atmosphere. So come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blades!
Ramble on. Well, now's the time is now. Sing my song. I'm gonna round the world, gonna find my girl, I'm on my way.
I suppose if you'd have... Oh.